The dancing feet, the sound of tinkling bells, the songs that are sung and the varying steps, the form assumed by our dancing God. Find out these within yourself, then shall your follies fall away.
India. This is the story of 4 of her people. 4 men drawn together by a single industry. From the village marketplaces high up in the Himalayas, from the desert and towns of Rajasthan, from the tropical heat of Kerala in the far south, and from the great city of Calcutta in Bengal. 4 men whose stories begin in the 4 corners of this great country. 4 lives in a nation of hundreds of millions. Is still and always will be overwhelmingly rural. Most of her people live in the villages, their way of life responding only slowly to change. Here is a land of enormous diversity and violent contrast. The home of 500 million people, speaking 14 languages and 800 different dialects. 500 million people, India's greatest capital, their ever-increasing numbers, her greatest problem. A land of ritual and ceremony, of many religions, Muslim, Sikh, Parsi, Christian, the great majority of her people, Hindu.
In the Hindu story of creation, the first man was Purush. From his head, some believe, rose the Brahmins, the priests. From his arms, the Kshatriyas, the warriors. From his thighs, the Vaishyas, the merchants. And from his feet, the Shudras, the workers.
Priests, warriors, merchants, workers. The ancient divisions of society. A system of caste that grew out of men's occupations and which has lingered on into the India of the atomic age. It was believed that each man was placed at the moment of his birth in a preordained position in the social scale. A change of caste, of occupation even, could only be achieved by rebirth after death. Man dies only to be reborn according to his merit. someone dear to you dies, you take a little boat of leaves, and in it you put flowers, you light its lamp, and send it forth upon the waters of the holy river.
Worn-out garments are shed by the body. Worn-out bodies are shed by the dweller within the body. New bodies are donned by the dweller like garments.
This attitude to life and death, this search for the absolute, finds expression everywhere in India's temples. It dominates her art and culture and speaks through the voice of her great religious poetry.
Action rightly renounced brings freedom. Action rightly performed also brings freedom. Both are better than mere shunning of action. The wise see knowledge and action as one. They see truly. Take either path and tread it to the end. The end is the same. There the followers of action meet the seekers after knowledge in equal freedom.
The wise see knowledge and action as one. Pandit Nehru once said, "The temples of modern India are its factories." And today, only the action of industry can transform the age-old poverty of India's millions. In the remote northern foothills of the greatest range of mountains in the world, the Himalayas, a man of India, this one a salesman, brings the town to the village. The factory to the countryside. Where sheep and goat tracks were once the only means of communication, new roads now penetrate further every day. By his beard and turban, we recognize him as a Sikh, a member of one of India's many religions, a religion born in the Punjab barely 400 years ago. A man of industry now drives through valleys linked for the first time by roads to the outside world. So, in a marketplace, a sale is made, a contract negotiated. Other towns, other villages to be visited. More people to see. Far from the Himalayas, hundreds of miles to the southwest, is a desert. And another story. Rajasthan, whose once princely rulers claimed their descent from the sun and the moon. Today, a man hurries back from the fields to the village which is his home. Rajasthan, a son. The happiest of human occasions anywhere in the world. But to the Hindu father, a moment also of the greatest symbolic significance. A soul has been born again, and only a son can perform the ritual and ceremony of funeral when his own soul, in turn, goes forth from his body. For this blessing of a son, a man gives thanks. A child is born, a horoscope is cast, and the village celebrates the naming of the newborn. After the ceremony of purification and the celebration of a birth, after the rejoicing is over, life resumes its daily pattern. This land is old. This soil is tired. It produces barely enough to keep the village alive. And a newborn son is another mouth to feed. In the town, there is industry. In the town, there may be a job. Men are leaving their villages for the new factories that beckon with the promise of a better life and more highly paid work. As the wheel turns, so a new life is possible. A new life in this same lifetime.
In the beginning, the Lord of Beings created all men, to each his duty. Do this, he said, and you shall prosper. Duty well done fulfills desire. For the fruit of their action, the wise must work also, pointing man's feet to the path of his duty.
Industry is a great melting pot in which India's many religions and creeds work side by side. Industry is creating a fresh unity among India's peoples: Tamil, Gujarati, Maharashtrian, Rajput, Malayali, using a common language, learning each other's ways and working to a common end. An industry whose products a salesman sells in the far north. An industry in which a peasant from Rajasthan seeks work. An industry in which a foreman in a factory also came originally from a village in Kerala, in the lush south. He's done well and has money saved. He has served his apprenticeship. Now he wants to get married, to share his life and success with another. As a married man, he will be able to speak on terms of equality with those formerly his elders. And he wants a son. Without a wife, without children, a house is empty, a home barren. The journey to the village of his birth takes 3 days. It is a journey back to the family of which in India one remains forever apart, back to his origins. Father to son, unbroken through the centuries, the continuity of Hindu faith and revelation has been expressed in the dance and the drama of the religious festivals. Kathakali is the dance drama of southwest India. While dancers mime this story, voices chant the narrative of sacred tales known and loved all over India. It is at a time of festival that it is propitious for weddings to be arranged. So it is with this girl. As with her mother before her, her family have arranged a marriage to a man she has never seen. But they are the same caste and the same community. And their horoscopes, written at the hour of their birth, are as the sun is to the moon. Kerala, where this girl is waiting, has never known the snow and ice of the Himalayas, nor the dust of the desert. Here, close to the equator, is a tropical landscape and a different life. Water cleanses the body, purifies the soul, and makes clean before worship. The bell rings for God to hear the prayer of a supplicant on the eve of his wedding. Festivals celebrate the seasons of the year, the coming of the rains that bring life to the earth, the wheel of the stars in the heavens, a ritual in which all over India are forever reenacted the stories of a golden age.
King Dashrath from his palace emerged, and the drums thundered signal. Mounted on his great elephant, bred for battle furious, in golden splendor caparisoned. The criers were everywhere, and lustily they called, "Bedeck the city royal, for tomorrow earth will be bride, and Ram will wed her, and wear the jeweled crown."
ബോംബെക്കൊക്കെ പോകാൻ പോണോ പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഞങ്ങളത് മറക്കരുതേ മറക്കോ ബോംബെക്കൊക്കെ പോയി ലെറ്റർ ഒക്കെ അവിടെ ചെന്നാൽ ഞങ്ങളെയൊക്കെ ഓർമ്മ നിൽക്കാൻ ദേഹമായിരുന്നു ഡ്രസ്സിനൊക്കെ
And so a foreman in industry, who left his village 10 years earlier, has returned and claimed his bride. For the girl, a new life awaits, a life that will become one with a man by her side, forsaking forever the lushness of southern India for the very different world of Bombay. "1,200 miles northeast from Kerala is Calcutta, the great industrial city of Bengal. The foundations of her trade and commerce laid by the merchant venturers of the East India Company. It is no Warren Hastings or Clive who drives through the streets today, but a young business executive on his way home from the factory. An executive in the industry that has helped another man to build a home and to marry, in a position to offer work to a man who comes from a village seeking employment in the town. Manufacturing products for another to sell. But today he has another responsibility, a more urgent duty. He is a son, and his father is dying.
Long did I grieve, not blessed with sons. Then Ram came, and my sorrow ended. Now it is his lot to bear the yoke, and mine the joy to escape.
It is a daughter's lot to share her mother's bereavement, to lament.
Brightly endowed is my son. It is my wish that my son should also wed the goddess Earth, that Ram may shine, that I may free myself from this unending illusion of births and deaths.
In my life, I tried to make 3 obligations. Now I leave them to you. They are to Godheads, to the sages who gave us knowledge, and to our ancestors. Now, you should have had a child. If only I had seen my grandson.
Don't worry about it, Father. Please don't worry about it.
Surya Chandra Galai
Arpaya tava prarthanani madhya atma shanti tava sukrit prarthanani samarpaya mama atma tava karmadhyam vipakantare agamanaya nirichanti swayadattena yamvana shantim labhami chanittena sarvishrantim prapnami.
The soul is freed from one more earthly existence, free to be born again in another form, according to previous life and past action. The wheel has come full circle. The Himalayas, which saw India's birth, are now witness to the enlarging frontiers of her trade. The salesman brings the products of a factory and buys the products of the countryside to take home to the town. A peasant from Rajasthan who has found work at a factory sends money home to his village. Unable to read or write himself, he employs a letter writer. The foreman of a factory hurries back to the bride he brought so recently from the village and who awaits him at their home in the city.
Women are honored, then the gods are pleased. But where they are not honored, no sacred rite yields rewards. Where the wife lives in grief, the family soon wholly perishes. So it is with Sita and Ram, and so it will ever be.
An executive, now head of his family, has a greater responsibility in management. India, whose lives have been touched and quickened by the impact of industry.
The wise see knowledge and action as one. They see truly. Take either path and tread it to the end. The end is the same. There the followers of action meet the seekers after knowledge in equal freedom.